Well, today is the 13th of June 2024 and we've got to be coming to the end of a really long dry spell, and I was under the impression that the water is as low as I've ever seen it in the lake here, and that includes the two really dry years of 2019 and 2020, and I've got photos of that I intend to show you, some of which will tie in with what we can see here. So this is my famous turret, and of course the lake bed is showing, and there is the base of the dam, which is still not exactly out of the water at this end. We'll go down to the other end later, and I'll cut in some equivalent footing from 2019/2020. Proceed, sir. Now we're moving down. At some point we will come to, not sure how well this is going to show up on the video, but this here is about full. This is extreme fullness, and if you follow the line around, you can see that black line along the top of the dam. That's where the high water mark is, though I've never actually seen it that high. If I come back down, let me just count the steps a minute. I reckon about here is where it was in December when I was here last Christmas. So from now on we're descending where the water should be. Never thought I'd ever do this, and I may never do it again. And we're getting into the ragged ends of it now, where all the shite is deposited. The bottom of the stone wall. Look at all the shells. You can see this is normally underwater, and all this wood stuff here was probably left over when they built it. So one small step for Graham kind, and we're now on the bottom of the reservoir. And step very, very carefully here, because there could be bits of wood with nails sticking up, and if there is, I'm going to find it, don't you worry. So here we are, walking out on the bottom of the reservoir, and this old pal of mine here, now you see that line there, that is extreme. That is pretty well as high as I've ever seen it. So everything from there, you know, all the way down to there. Now I guess if I ever see the bottom of this tower, then the island is in extreme trouble as far as water is concerned, because that looks as though it's shelving off down there still pretty deep, so it's probably still pretty deep out there. But it's a great insight as to what the bottom of the lake looks like. I mean, this was an ordinary valley once upon a time, and until they built the dam, and this is what the bottom ends up looking like after a few years underwater. And now we're going to do it again. Proceed, sir. This is a very long, and for an old guy like me, approaching his 75th birthday, don't tell anyone, it can be quite dangerous. Especially if you've got a camera in your hand. I'm glad I haven't got the old setup with the big camera and the gimbal and everything. I'd need a rope to climb down here. I mean, right now we're the equivalent of being well under the water. So, but there's still some sort of 15 feet or so to go. And here we are on the bed of the lake. Now, one of the things I judge it by is the relative state of this channel here, which leads down to the water, and comparing that to the dry years. And as you can see, the dam is still, the dam base is still in the water. And here's the funny way my mind works. For years and years now, I promised myself that if I could ever walk from this end of the dam on the beach, because it was dry, all the way along to the other end, which is now out of the water, and we'll visit that in a minute, that I would go to the Hard Rock Cafe and buy myself some wings and a burger and a beer, which would cost me an awful lot of money. But as you can see, we'll try to compare this to last year's effort. And the reason I think the water is still a little bit higher is, if we look around here, there were a few more little islets, tiny little islands showing at the extreme end of the dry season. And as you can see, someone has left a little religious token on this rock to some kind of water deity or another. It's all rather fascinating to me, I must admit. You know, I've done so many videos of this place. This side of the water, there's one more thing I'd like you to see, and it all depends if I can climb up to it or not. Let's have a go. I hope you can see all this wood that's left around here on the base of the lake. This, you can see this in a 2019 photo. It used to be all stuck up out of the water. They must have used this as part of the scaffolding when they first built the tower. It's a bit of a long shot, but you can see this log. Now this, this was deposited here at high water about 2 years ago, and for a long time it was floating around in the lake, and it looks just like the bloody Loch Ness monster. You can see how these myths grow up, can't you? And I'm surprised that in the current dry conditions they've never you know, sawn it up and carted it away, but no, they just leave it here to rot away. So here we can see the other end. I tried to, this is all the lake bed over here, and I tried to find a little path to get down to it, but it's just not worth the aggro today. If I ever manage to walk across this this dam at base level, I'll find a path sort of over there somewhere to get back up and out again. But as you can see, there's quite a lot of the lake bed and the beach exposed, and all the way down there are those rocks that I use as a guideline. It's every day the water is receding an inch or so, but I still think it's just slightly more than was in it at its extreme lowest point. And in fact, I can prove it. I've just been looking back through my old records and looking at the same place at the time this video was shot, which was around about a week ago. We see this. And in March, the end of March 2020, it looked like this. The water was lower. It'll be mentioned elsewhere in another video, but I have to report that really the rainy season has started now, and for this last week, every day it's been raining, and you can see I'm all dressed up to go for my walk, and it's raining outside, so I'm pondering my options. So I'm just in here messing around with this video. So anyway, that's about it. I've dragged about as much out of this little walk as I can, so I hope it was of some interest to someone. I doubt it, but I hope so. And wish you all fair winds, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.